The show's pretty good. I'm gonna make a video out of that. If the intro didn't give you enough of a clue already, I'm making Asterix from Asterix and Obelix, the show. I started with this Elsa head that I got from a thrift store. And I decided that I wanted it to sort of be in the style of Etelyne's cartoon doll that she made of Wirt and the other kid from Over the Garden Wall. I'm sorry, I haven't seen the show, I don't know the characters very well. So that meant inset eyes, which I'm cutting off right now. And then I sculpted a face off camera. I don't know where it went, but now I'm painting it up, and I decided to take huge inspiration from Etelyne for this video, and I just used lots of acrylic paints to make the skin look perfectly imperfect as she did. I also had the idea to make these guys really movable, like stop motion puppets, like they could be used in a stop motion scene. You may be noticing that weird line of sculpting in his mouth. His mouth took a lot of tries. Don't worry, you can't see it in the end. It's covered by his mustache. I spent a lot of time building up little dots of color. And whenever it's a little too harsh, I just tap it with my finger to blend it in. I then painted black on his eyebrows, as that's how the cartoon is, and filled in some darker lines with the black as well, like his nostrils, his mouth, and around his eyes. I found that if you don't put black around the eyes of dolls' inset eyes, then it looks very wrong and disjointed. On to making a wig. I took this stretchy red old t-shirt and put it over his head with a layer of cling film in between to protect the face that I made. And then we have a wig cap. I started just gluing the hair around in a spiral. I decided to try using white glue for gluing the wig, but quickly found out that I hate it. But I persisted, as I wanted to try other methods and keep an open mind. Bit of a snap transition, and the wig is styled and done. Now, I have never done a mustache on this scale, so I wasn't quite sure how to do it. At first I started trying to use white glue to shape it, and it worked. I was thinking of trying to use hot glue, but it worked, so. Then I clean wrapped the entire head and started to work on the helmet. I wrapped his head in tinfoil and started sculpting out of gray clay a helmet shape. It's a simple helmet, just a dome with a little ball on top, and I didn't need to worry about the indents caused by my thumbs because it was supposed to look old and dented. After it was baked, I decided it needed a bit more pizzazz, so I busted out my metallic silver nail polish and started chroming the thing up. Next were the eyes. I bought these molds off of Amazon, and I filled them with epoxy sculpt. I didn't know what size would fit in his head, so I just filled in all of them that seemed to be around his right size. This is the pair I ended up choosing, and I decided to make his eyes a dark brown, as that is the color that the actor had, and the cartoon just has black dots for eyes, so I figured it would work. The epoxy I used doesn't cure completely the white, so then I painted eye whites white. I didn't have resin, so I decided to try topping them off with clear glue. It didn't really work. Eventually I just filled them with hot glue off camera. For his clothes, I used the cling wrap and masking tape method to have a pattern for him. It was just a very simple shirt and pants. I drew the shape I wanted, cut out the bits, and traced them onto black fabric with a seam allowance. I then traced them onto a thick cardboard and used that as a pattern on some black fabric. I decided to try and show a bit more of my pattern making method, as I haven't really shown it before in videos, and I thought you guys might be interested to see how I do it. Now we're on to accessories. I used a paintbrush handle to gauge how big the hands were, and he can actually hold the miniature sword I made. I made the blade out of a popsicle stick, And admittedly, it did come out a little small, but I feel that it works with the cartoonish way that things are. I used that same popsicle stick for the guard, and then I hot glued it all together. And then sanded everything down so it doesn't give me splinters. This belt I made out of a light green fabric that I painted the right shade of green, and I ironed it over with my hair iron so that it was the right size. I then hot glued it to Asterix and added a few touch-ups. To make the connection even more secure, I added epoxy sculpt onto the sword. I then used epoxy sculpt to get his belt buckles. I don't really know what these are. They're just 3 giant circles on the front of his belt. I then gave them a coat of brown paint before gold because you should always, in my opinion, do a coat of brown paint before gold as it is a richer gold. The gold paint is also very sheer, and so you want a layer of paint under the thing you were painting so that it gets less layers of paint involved. A lot of people use yellow, but I don't like the way that turns out, as it doesn't seem deep or rich enough, in my opinion. I did the same to the sword handle, and off screen I had painted the sword blade silver, again with my nail polish. And I decided to make him a stand. I took this old lid that I had, and I cut a hole in it that could fit an extra Monster High / Ed Rafter High stand that I had. I then used more epoxy to secure it in place. It is removable, and the epoxy does keep it in place, so it's very nice like that. Finally, as a last prop, I made him his magic potion bottle, the one that he gets his super strength from. I would really recommend the cartoon. It's just so sweet. I don't really know how to describe it. It's pure, it's funny, it's old, and very nostalgic. And I can't forget his sword sheath. I made this out of fabric and painted it blue, and then added gold detailing, first with the brown layer. Just adding some last minute details, and with that, the doll is done. Been in a lot.